Hello, this is Pixie. Do another video. So I've been watching a sci-fi series called Raised by Wolves. And it's quite good, but there's some stuff you question or you're keen to find out the answers to. I mean, you set up a kind of like sci-fi drama and all of the old order issues and things like that. Sort of the conflicts that maybe could mirror in this world. Mirror there, and the only thing is, if Kelper 22b is 52 times the size of Earth, you're not really going to squabble too much, because you've got not just a planet to explore, you've got a massive system to explore. You're not limited at all. So that's the first thing. I think what you could do, if you're smart enough, is and you've got conflicts with factions, to sort out a treaty. So right, well, we've got this massive area, why don't we take each a different section? I mean, if it's 52 worlds, Christ, you know, how much space do you need? And then we can look at some peaceful ways, and then just say, look, we don't want to end up in the same situation we was before, like war and issues with conflict and religion and stuff. I guess it'd be nice for the future of this Earth if there's a way to sort of integrate all religions at some level, you know, kind of but the only issue is that there's always going to be conflict because they've got some radical beliefs, or I've had influences from people that have put things into it and so reflect their beliefs, like punishment is needed, or this is what your divine God believes, and all these sorts of things, and it just becomes a reflection of someone else's own inner God, their own version of themselves, their higher self, where they are at that period of time. So if they're jealous and controlling, this thing becomes jealous and controlling. If they're loving and forgiving, this thing becomes loving and forgiving. Or if it believes in some sacrifice, or there's the order of the greater good and all these other. So that's the problem. After time, they get rewritten, these stories. They end up fitting certain particular narratives, and certain behaviour is reflected in that as well. It's not going to change. Oh, sit pretty here, it's not busy. Oh my god, alright. Watching this car, I thought, is he going to collision? So yeah, I mean, what I might be doing at some point is I need to get a map of the galaxy. I need to have a look at these like Hubble telescope pictures, even if they've been photoshopped in some way or improved, or representations of these things. As long as they're actually built on something that's true, they can be used as reference points. Just mad. These cars are crazy sometimes. You just ignore them, ignore problems. I mean, you acknowledge there's something going on, but you don't feed into some emotional responses. So yeah, so look at a galactic map, and then spiritually try to meditate on them. So the idea in this universe, everything's connected, and that I'm not just a biological entity. I have some kind of quantum effects. I also have electrical effects, so I shouldn't be limited in my consciousness by my physical body. But there are boundaries. There are boundaries and rules. Otherwise, I'd just be like a blur of energy. I wouldn't be able to, I guess, oscillate. That's what the words come into my head. Oscillate at a certain kind of frequency. I just basically merge with the background, the universe around me. And then I would sort of become so thin and sort of separate that I would be like I was in a lucid dream, travelling around. I wouldn't have any form at all. So I need to have a central point of control, and this is why we've got this physical body. However, I'm not limited physically to my body. I just believe I am, because I need to have a baseline for a reality to grow and manifest beyond. So once I understand properties of this world, I can apply them to other worlds. So spiritually, I can try to connect to other places. There was a place called Scifi. I think it's off the Orion belt, but I was picking up some place This planet is quite large. I mean, about half of it is it's fairly barren. It's got a lot of desert, but it has got life on it. It's got these creatures that basically I call them sandwigs. They're a bit like wood lice or sand lice. They could be. They're about the size of a human, a small human, and they eat dead, rotting material, and they look like them bugs themselves. And they burrow into the sand. They just tend to pull things down that are rotten and eat them. And then there's other things. I sense another life form. It's like a scorpion, and it just senses them, and then it digs them up and eats them basically. There's a kind of swampy area of this planet as well, so like some water or some gas. It looks like a green mould, but I haven't explored that in my mind. And there's also like a rock formation, so there's a rocky area. I mean, for humans, we could build a settlement on the rocky side of it, and farm the other creatures, sand creatures. The sand is actually rich in stuff. I mean, these things just kind of basically eat through and excrete stuff, so there might be other creatures further down in the sand that they dig out and eat the dead of, and worms and all these sorts of things that live under the sand. So it's something I'll meditate on, and really what I need to do is put together a meditation based on what I've perceived, experienced, so that people can experience it. And there's another thing, whether it's true or not, you might think, well, reality is what I see in front of me, it's not what I think inside of me. But if you did believe that, then you'd never be able to interact with the world around you, because it's a base of two ways. There's an outer mind and there's the inner mind. So there's the intelligence around you perceived in your environment, and then there's the one internally you perceive, and then there's how you kind of move through this kind of world. The vehicle of our body, our soul, which unifies our minds and our environment together, because we need the environment to fuel it. So we eat things, but at other levels we're more powerful. And there's another thing as well. So these worlds represent consciousness, and I guess like back to Raised by Wolves, there's a religious faction called who believe in the soul, and Soul Star is our own sun, which a lot of sun worship is already connected to a lot of things, which I'm already into. So it seems it's a bit. The only thing that's irritating is if they propagate beliefs that are kind of anti what I believe. Like they said they don't believe that animals have souls and other things, but it's an integration of this system. And to be honest, some things have hive mind, which might mean they've got hive consciousness, and it also means their spirit is in hive kind of mode as well. And it's possibly because of the level of control it takes to run. It's like a program. You invest a part of your memory bank, so if your consciousness is a kind of living memory, so you're able to rewrite it and write it based on your environment and the vehicles you take on. So once I'm a human, I know what a human is, and I can replicate that in a spiritual form, or I can replicate that into another life form. So if I went to another planet and I started getting reincarnated within a certain being, I can actually probably influence the offspring and bring about some other creature. So there'll be other humanoids in this universe we live in. It's not just limited to this world, you know. So the debate comes about the spiritual evolution of man against the physical, the physics, the biochemistry of man. And if one can influence the other, and that's proven, then that would be quite an interesting find. You know, basically you'd have to measure the energetic field of a child before. So when somebody's born, and then what they become, how they change chemically, and you want to measure, not chemically, you want to measure the electrical activity of the individual. You might find that there's the biofields are quite unique in some way. and it could also suggest about incompatibility with fields and other things, like there's a good time for a spirit to occupy a soul, and outside of that time, or if the soul's defective, then it could lead to sort of stillborns or deaths and things like that. So there's things called ancestor souls, and there's something else that was about. So basically, like I mentioned, this world's got these different beings on. I mean, I wouldn't really want to incarnate necessarily one of these scorpion beings, but it'd be interested in humanoid that'd be created. It would have it'd be partially exoskeleton human. You end up looking like something like the lizard man from Spider-Man or something like that. And some of the biological things would carry across as well, like the capacity to put a venom into a being and then eat them, basically. So there's a way to incarnate your soul into another being, and it's kind of like an investment of your own life force, and as a result it brings about certain beings. So you have to sort of commune with the planet as well, because it acts as the central hub for life forms to exist. This is why if we exist in a type of tether, we have to re-tether ourselves to a different planet. Otherwise, we're kind of weakened, because we need the energy of another planet. This is what the problem with our health, cancers and other things, because there's lots of foreign energy waves that are coming in that are disrupting. It's interesting. I see this man who walks around with dumbbells, and I think it's a part of his weight training regime. He wanders around with weights in his hand. Because I've seen him walk before, I thought, is he doing exercise or is he taking them home? And it looks like he does it as a form of exercise, which is all very interesting. I'm trying to think of the word. It was like psychic intersection or something, where you transfer energy. Propagation, I think. Propagation of some sort. No, progenesis. Process. It's just where you basically transfer your soul into another being, just like possession at some level. Anyway, this is Boots on Off, and I'll see you soon. Bye.